I won't dim my light for no one.
Welcome back to the Multi-Passionate Mama podcast. Every week I want to bring you a little mini episode where I share something that's been on my mind, something that's really present for me. I love having guests, but sometimes I find that I have these quirky, fascinating ideas that I want to share. Let's dive in. Hello, it's the very last Minisode of the summer season. So I wanted to give you this recording as like a lessons of my summer, because what a summer this has been. I don't know if this has been a wild summer for you, but it definitely has been one to remember for me. So let's talk about it, because I've learned so much and I've had so many opportunities for growth, and there's just a lot of lessons in there, and I'm sure we could deep dive into each of them individually, but instead I'm just going to do like a little mini-sode here and just like a brief overview. And I think we've talked about some of these more in depth on other episodes. So back in May and June, when summer began, I started this whole season off with, I went out of town and I got to go to the podcasting summit, and that was really amazing. That was actually the very last week before school got out. It was like the actual week of the last week of school. And then I got home like 2 days before my kids got out. And it was really amazing to get to go do that. And then I came back and immediately got sick. I came back and I rebranded my entire podcast, and it was amazing and transformational. But then it was like kind of hunker down into summer mode. And summers tend to be really fascinating for me because I have 3 kids with special needs. And so my whole world tends to revolve around them it always does, but especially over the summer. Like, it's hard to do meetings. It's hard to do interviews. And although I did have a surprising amount of meetings this summer, which I can get into in a minute and how I navigated that one. But anyways, I began the summer with a big kickoff of getting to go out of town, which was beautiful and was really important to me because there's this pattern I had been noticing, which is that when I begin summer and I'm suddenly surrounded by people, being my kids, specifically my severely autistic son Joshua, who turned 13 over the summer, he tends to kind of be really overwhelming and like yell at me all the time. I have this pattern of within the first few weeks of summer getting really, really depressed. And so I was trying to counteract that with this big trip out of town and the excitement around that, and hoping that if I really filled my own bucket before summer started, that I could kind of counteract what I knew was coming, which was the depression of never getting any space for myself. So it was very helpful, and I did see that. But what was really interesting about the summer was actually the dynamic between various like illnesses and things going wrong physically for me, and then immense creativity happening. So I got back from my trip and then immediately got sick. As soon as I rebranded my show, I had this sinus infection for about 2 weeks that just would not quit until I finally was like, oh, I need to like go to the doctor. I'm not getting any better. I felt like absolute garbage for 2 full weeks. Maybe I should go to the doctor and get antibiotics. Then I got antibiotics and I felt way better. And then I was only better for like a week when I received a concussion when Joshua punched the headrest of the van, of the headrest in the van, the driver's seat, while I was sitting there. And it wasn't just the force of him punching it. It burst when he punched it because it's spring-loaded. Anyways, I had a concussion, and that I'm still feeling symptoms from that. It's now been like 7-ish, 8-ish weeks. I can't even remember anymore. It's been a hot minute since that happened, but I did end up back in the ER at 6 weeks out for recurring symptoms. Let's see, a weekish ago, I tripped out my front door. So the whole story is that I had folded all my laundry on the couch and had to rush out the door. And then when I came back home, our bulldog, Dottie, decided to make a big old nest out of all the laundry that I had folded. And I was mad, and I pulled her butt off the couch in anger. It's never a good idea to do anything in anger, by the way. I pulled her butt off the couch, and the door was still open, and she happily skipped right outside to my lawn to go enjoy herself in the grass. And I was stormed after her like, wait a minute, you're in trouble. You're supposed to be scared of me or something. She wasn't. She didn't care at all. No remorse. Our other dog shows so much remorse when he does something wrong. She has absolutely no remorse. And I stormed after her, and I tripped in a hole in the lawn that my youngest had dug and fell flat on my face. And I was just head to toe covered in dirt. And it was awful, and I was crying like a 5-year-old, and I hurt my knee really bad, actually. It was all swollen. It still is kind of swollen. My shoulder hurt, my arm hurt, I skinned both my palms, but it's been a whole week of my arm, or of my knee, hurting so badly. Anyway, so the lesson was like, don't storm out the door in anger. I usually look where I walk, and I hadn't in that moment. But the lesson I have been learning from all these different illnesses and injuries and things that happened over the summer was how very much I need to slow down and pay attention to my body and really take care of me. And what's been fun is that simultaneously I've been in these amazing classes. I've been in this Write and Rise course with Deja Lee LeBrier, and we've been working on inner child work, and that's been just so incredibly powerful, as I felt like a 5-year-old sprawled out on my lawn going, oh, I don't feel like I'm allowed to be sick. I felt like I wasn't allowed to be sick when I was a kid because school was so important. We had to go to school, and just bringing up all these emotions, and it's so important to get to know yourself, and understanding why you do things. I feel like that's so incredibly important. And then I just got certified. I finished my course as an Akashic Records reader, which just blows my mind that is a thing that I'm certified in. But that's going deep into that level of spirituality in that arena, and just being able to hold that space and just feel that peace is just mind-blowing and so amazing. And in doing all these things, they make such a huge impact when you slow down. And I've noticed that the more that I slow down and the more that I care for myself, the way that I would care for my kids, the way that I would care for, anybody that I love, if I could just care for myself as much as I care for other people, right? The more that I've seen creativity just flow. I've had so many song ideas. I've had just inspiration flowing faster than I can even handle it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I just want to try this, and I want to try this, and I want to try this. I have so many ideas. It's amazing. And it's I want to do everything right now. And then the other really incredible thing that kind of just, manifested this summer that just seemed out of the blue and magical was that while I was at the podcasting summit, I was corresponding with my professors that I had worked with at BYU in the makeup department for theater. And they were looking for somebody to be an adjunct professor teaching the beginning makeup courses. And I don't meet the qualifications for this position, but they were asking me if I would apply for it because they really needed somebody. And I guess they remembered me. They liked me. There was something about me that that they reached out to me. And so I applied for the position, and now I've officially been hired. I mean, it took all summer, but that brought up so many emotions in me, like feeling like I don't have the qualifications for this job, and like feeling like I don't feel like I don't know if I can do this, and not being sure if this is something I even want, because I'm an entrepreneur and I should be doing all these other things. And like, oh wait, this was just brought to my life for a really good reason, and how much this is going to help me grow and how much I need to grow. And wow, when you look at your thoughts and you separate yourself from your thoughts and you go, that's fascinating. Why am I having this thought? What is it showing me that I need to understand better about myself? It's just so amazing. I see a lot of growth in myself this summer. And yeah, like I said in my podcast episode that came out Wednesday, we are sometimes just handed without, no one asks our permission, right? We're just handed growth opportunities. Like they're just thrust into our faces. And I've had many, many, many of those this summer, and they've been very good for me. And also they've required stretch, and it's been beautiful and hard and good, and I've grown as a result. So my challenge for you in all this, as I reflect back on my own summer, is I want you to reflect on your summer. How have you grown? What have been the challenges that you've had to face that have changed you, but in good ways, that have helped you become better, or to reflect, or to know yourself in a better way? I know that those things exist for you like they do for me, because I know that we are all handed opportunities to grow. Hope you guys have an amazing day. And I'm so glad that the summer is over. I'm ready for my kids to go back to school. Thank you for joining me for another episode of the Multi-Passionate Mama Podcast. I know that we can never be told too many times how amazing we are. So in case you haven't been told today, you are a freaking rock star. When you let yourself shine, you allow other people to take off their filters and shine brightly too. It's about time someone gave you permission to be all of you. If you enjoyed this show, please leave me a review and hit that subscribe button. I know you want more of this. Sharing is caring. Let someone you love know how incredible they are by texting them the link to this episode. They will feel so good just knowing that you thought about them. Lastly, if you want to know more about my courses and coaching, be sure to check out my website for up-to-date details on everything I have available. It's caroleegarrison.com, and the link is in the show notes. Always remember that you are a diamond. Don't let anyone dim your sparkle.